Oh yes, here we are. I just removing my toast crumbs from the desk. I had a plate and everything. They're probably on me as well. Anyway, here we are, Friday. I'm on one of those streak things, aren't I? This is my third day in a row. I wonder if that could be a thing. I mean, things happen. That's the problem, you see. Things happen sometimes, don't they? Like I'm already thinking, kind of next week. There's some things going on that might mean I don't get to do this. Got the gymnasium on one day next week early. Booked myself in for a session there, and bit of traveling, special family event next week, that kind of thing. So it'd be nice to think I could maintain a streak, wouldn't it? Go live every day. How would that be? Be ridiculous, unachievable, probably. That's one thing with goal setting, isn't it? Wasn't what I was going to talk about as normal. Goal setting, that's one thing with goal setting, isn't it? It's not achievable, then it's not the right sort of goal, is it? We've got to be able to achieve the goal. But that said, thinking about Simon Sinek's work, if we set our goals, set our stall out from an internal position, we do better than if the goal is external, don't we? So, that's something to ponder. Let's see what happens. It's Saturday tomorrow. Anything could happen. But anyway, I thought I'd dip in. I did Wednesday, did Thursday, and here we are on Friday. Got the shopping to do. Going to go and do that next. Shuffle some things around in my diary to create some space. That's the beauty with slippage. Sometimes you look at a day and you think, right, okay, I've got higher priorities than the things I was going to do. So let's see where the slippage is, see where I can move things. Oh, look, I've got actually that thing I was going to do. It's not due for a couple of weeks. Let's move it. So I've done a bit of that today. And it suddenly starts to feel a lot better, doesn't it? But I want to talk to you particularly about Friday, I suppose, because 'tis the day that it is. 'Tis Friday. And I was listening to a podcast by a guy called Cal Newport, wrote Deep Work, wrote another book about emails called, I can't remember what it's called, A World Without Email, obviously. Great writer. Decent podcaster, not calling Cal Newport's podcasting into question. It sometimes drifts too much into the organizational management stuff for my taste, but there's some great snippets and there's some great episodes. And in the episode I've been listening to over the last couple of days, because they're mammoth, these episodes. This is the shorts philosophy, you see. This is the shorts media, self-care shorts, social work shorts. Focus, is to keep it tight, keep it short, and sometimes they do kind of drift on a bit. That's me. But sometimes we keep it tight because people don't have a lot of time. Sometimes your heart sinks when you look at a podcast and it's like 2.5 hours long. Do you know what I mean? You think, no, it's not going to happen. Anyway, so I've listened to this podcast, walking the dog, over the last couple of days. Great way to habit stack. I want the habit. I want the habit of listening to more podcasts. Don't find the time. So stack that habit, that desired habit, onto a habit that's already established, which is walking the dog every morning. Stack them on each other, and suddenly I'm now doing 2 habits in one. There's the dog. There's the dog back there. She's like, "You talking about me? You talking about me?" So Cal Newport said, when it comes to productivity, work slowly, but relentlessly on what matters. And in the podcast, he breaks that down, and he does it really well, as he would. He's a consummate professional, and it's one of the things that I've said for a long time, based on the reading of stuff like Carl Newport's work and that kind of stuff. It's one of those things that I've said for a while. It's like, slow down. One of the problems with the speed we go at is it's often because we've picked too many things to do. And we, again, going back to goal setting, we've set ourselves a goal which is unachievable. I'll get these 8 things done today. And, if you looked at that seriously, you would realize that you're not going to get all those things done. So you try to work faster. When you're working faster, it counters the productivity, goes against the productivity, because when you try and work faster, you start to make more mistakes. you tire. Well, you tire anyway. You know what I mean? Um, so work slowly. Maybe methodically is a better word. Work methodically. Don't set yourself too many must-do things. Leave yourself some room so that maybe you get the must-do things done by 3 o'clock, say. And then you think, right, okay, done the must-do things. I feel really good about that. I can now tick one off the could possibly do list, so that's important. So it's important to be realistic with yourself. We always want to do more. Our natural position is we always want to do more than is realistic, I think, because it's the way the world is, so try and just be realistic about what you can achieve. In fact, set your realistic barometer lower, than maybe it needs to be. Set it lower. Be more realistic. Be less real. Be more realistic. Be more and more realistic. Less and less stuff. Because then you'll feel good. You'll get that little dopamine rush that says, right, I've ticked off all of those things that I absolutely need to do. So work slowly. Work slowly. Slowly is the fastest way to get to where you want to be. Okay. But relentlessly. And this is the problem. We live in such a distracted world, everything. And I was talking about this the other day. We live in a world where it's full of a myriad of distractions: email, telephone, Twitter, or X as it's called. I'm refusing to call it X. It's just nonsense. Twitter. All of these things are set to distract us. We've all got things in our homes. If we're working at home, we've got things in our homes that distract us. If we're in the office, things distract us. Somebody makes a coffee at home or in the office, and all of a sudden we're all having coffee, when actually probably some of us we weren't ready for the break. You know what I mean? Schedule your breaks together in the office. That'd be a good thing. Use the Pomodoro technique and all work 50-minute blocks or 45-minute blocks, and then all pause. And then that's the thing called, isn't that called fika? Isn't that a Swedish thing where everybody stops at 10:30 or something and all goes and has a coffee, and they all do it together? And around that they focus. They don't get in each other's way. We get in each other's way so much. So work slowly, but work relentlessly. That's Cal Newport's word. Not sure it's my favorite word. Relentless sounds a bit to kind of, keep going, man, keep going, and I don't like that. But work in a way where you're not distracted. Work on one task at a time. We talk about that loads, don't we? Work on one task at a time. Work on the task that you've planned for this moment, and then move on to the next task, and then move on to the next task. Work your way through things slowly, methodically, and relentlessly, as Cal Newport said, and work on what matters. And that's really important, isn't it? And almost, although that comes last in his phrase, work slowly but relentlessly on what matters. That's almost the first thing. Figure out what matters and then work through it slowly and relentlessly. And I've kind of already talked about that, I suppose. And there are a couple of things about Fridays that I think are really important. It's very easy on Fridays to fall into the it's Friday trap. Of it's the end of my week, I'm tired. You will be tired because you've worked all week, assuming a Monday to Friday kind of work pattern. You'll be tired because you've been working all week. Good on you for grafting and getting to this point. Well done. But you will be tired. So it's important not to lose Friday. And we do often lose Fridays to low productivity, which is why we've got our Self-Care Shorts top phrase, isn't it? Which is this Friday is the most important day of next week. Because what we know about Fridays, and elements of research bear this out, what we know about Fridays is that if you plan next week meticulously on a Friday, you have a better weekend and you have a better next week because you get at next week quicker. So there are two things here. Set your approach goal. Set your approach goal with a kind of can-do mindset. When you're thinking mindset, think, yeah, this is an important day to me. This is not the last day. It's the first day of next week. Do you know what I mean? Let's shift that thinking around. Today is the first day of next week, really, because what I do today is really, really important. We are always keen to get to our break, and I understand that. But your break is not today. Your break is not today. Now, I do think we do slide graciously out of the week. our productivity does wane as we get into and through Friday. That's fine as long as you keep going with tasks that are helpful and supportive as you gradually run out of motivation and focus. So the great thing to do there is to set an approach goal that you're going to get these jobs out of the way, then you're going to plan next week. And maybe do that early. I always say, rethinking this a bit. I always say that, that at the end of Friday, plan next week. But maybe you plan next week. Maybe you make it the thing you do first on an afternoon, and then you look at next week, and then you think, oh well, I could do these things now, get them out of the way. Or actually, there are some things that I need now that I know what I'm going to do next week, so I'll do those this afternoon. Maybe that kicks a little bit of motivation in. I don't know. I'd be interested in playing with that. So set your approach goal to Friday being very important about next week, but set your approach goal that you're not going to get sucked into things that kind of that aren't yours to get sucked into. You're going to maintain some focus, because on a Friday, when you're tired, when you're running out of steam, it's easy to get sucked into other people's dramas and other people's kind of things that they might want you to do. We need to be resolute and say, no, I need to sort all these things out for myself. And then run through the finish line. Run through the finish line. Keep going as best as you can. You are going to start to fade a little. You are going to start to lose that motivational drive on a Friday, but try to just push yourself on. Imagine you bench pressing, or imagine you're doing deadlifts or whatever. The 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th one take more effort, but you've got to push through and get those reps out, haven't you? So let's do that. Let's get those final reps out at the end of the day, so we can leave the weekend going, we hit our rep goal, we're planned for next week, we're all sorted. We're ready next week to continue our mission of working slowly, relentlessly on what really matters. And that planning will help you figure out what really matters. There are some things when you're figuring out what really matters, it's important to question your logic. Is this important? Why is this important? Who is this important to? And if I don't do this, what will happen? What are the consequences? If I do this, how much better will that make me feel? How much easier will other things be? So think of those things when you are prioritizing for next week, and then have good weekends. My three streak run of going live may well end tomorrow. It probably will, but still, there you go. You never know. Might dip in and just do an advert for some of the things, like I keep threatening to do. So anyway, have good weekends and have good Fridays, and I'll try and dip in with you again next week. Take care.